Welcome to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn joined by Albert Robles over to my left-hand side as we get set for football this afternoon. It will be East LA deferring to the second half, and they will kick off to start this one. Juan Rangel will be going from right to left and back to receive for the Cougars as this one gets away. The Cougars are going to end up seeing Jalen Lewis take it from their own 1-yard line. Lewis dips and dives his way over towards the left-hand side. He's got a hole at the 35. He looks for a block, ends up getting taken out at the 37-yard line, and that's where College of the Canyons will start this game off. College of the Canyons entering this one with a 5-1 record for Coach Ted Iacenda. And this is a Canyons team that, yes, they're 5-1, but they haven't necessarily looked as strong as they would like going into week number 7 and the second week of conference play as well. So once again, Ryan Osborn joined by Albert Robles over to my left-hand side as Armani Eden gets set to take his first snap of the afternoon. Eden will be joined over to his right by Alonzel Henderson. Henderson goes into motion, left-hand side, gets a fake handoff. Here's Eden looking for Henderson. He does find Henderson, and Henderson gets wrapped up right about the 41-yard line, and he is picked up there by Omar Escato. So Escato gets his first tackle of the afternoon. Over on the right-hand side of the offense, Trevon Elliott is out there, and he will now be joined by Amari Smith. So Amari Smith, Trevon Elliott, both on the right-hand side, Henderson far left. Checking in is Caden Dunn in the backfield. Fake handoff. Here's Armani Eden trying to go right down the middle of the field, and he does find Amari Smith. Smith going to the right-hand side, actually make that Henderson. And Henderson with a big-time pickup of about 27 yards. And all of a sudden, College of the Canyons is in East LA College territory. So far side of the field, it will be Henderson. And now he'll also be joined out there by wide receiver Taquan Gilmore out of L.A., Esteban Torres High School. Right-hand side, Trevon Elliott goes into the motion. This will go over to Henderson, left-hand side, but that's too far up and high. So now Armani Eden is now 2 of 3 for about 33 yards unofficially. Ball is currently placed at the 34-yard line as we are underway live from East L.A. College here on SportsNetUSA.net. East LA will be in their all-gray uniforms with white numerals outlined in green. On the other side, College of the Canyons will be in white uniforms with navy blue numerals outlined in gold. Armani Eden goes back and retreats as Cyrus Zuhl is on his left. Zuhl doesn't get the handoff. Instead, that's going to go to the far side where it will be picked up by Gilmore. Gilmore, with the handoff, goes about 4 yards upfield, but down the far sideline, and he will make it a 2nd down and 6 to go from the 30-yard line. Actually, they're going to spot him at the 31 of East LA College. Offensive line takes a look at Eden. They end up getting the call, and they get set. Armani Eden with 4 wide, or actually 4 in the slot, 2 on each side. He looks over to his left, looking for Gilmore. Instead, he has an open receiver in Amari Smith, who makes the catch at the 13-yard line. Eden going up, twisting his body in midair, and is able to haul it in while being absolutely draped over by Xavion Avery. So that's a pickup, a 1st down, as we get ourselves to the 13-yard line with Canyons on the move. 13:05 here in the first quarter of play. Live from College of the Canyons, Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles over to my left. Fake handoff. Actually, no, they're going to give it right up to Zuhl, and Zuhl goes and plows his way for about 4 yards or so. Eden taking a look at Coach Ted Iacenda, who's in his 7th season as the head coach of the College of the Canyons Cougars. On the right-hand side, Trevon Elliott. In the slot on the right is Alonzel Henderson, who is the leading receiver in this group. Zuhl in the backfield. Far side is Gilmore. Eden surveying the defense. East LA bringing 5. This is going to go to the right-hand side where it is dropped by Trevon Elliott, the freshman out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and North Central High School. That was in and out of his hands as he took a quick look at what the coverage was directly behind him, and he wasn't able to haul it in. So now it's going to be a 3rd down and 7 to go from the 10-yard line of East LA. East LA trying to prevent College of the Canyons getting on the board early here in the first quarter. First possession for the College of the Canyons Cougars. No score early on, 12:15 on the clock. Snap is taken. Eden looking over towards his left, sells out for it, and he finds Gilmore in the end zone. Touchdown, College of the Canyons. Just like that, walking right down the field is College of the Canyons. They get an excellent punt return that leads them into their first score of the afternoon. And with 12:10 left to go in the first quarter, it is Gilmore who ends up getting his first reception for a touchdown in this one. And all that took was about, we'll say, 2 minutes and 50 seconds or so. Extra point is put up, and it is good. Almost no doubt when Tanner Brown steps up into a kick that's going to go through, and he is successful on another PAT. Our score is 7-0, 12:10 left to go here in the first quarter. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. So opening drive, College of the Canyons ends up getting a nice return of about 38 yards up to the 41-yard line. They end up driving down the field with ease thanks to Armani Eden, who looks sensational here in the first part of this ball game. And they get into the end zone with a Taquan Gilmore touchdown. So Tanner Brown is going to step into this one from the 35-yard line. Back to receive for College of the Canyons, Justin Watkins is back there, and he's also joined by Pierre Robinson. Robinson on the near side of the field, Watkins on the far side. Tanner Brown measuring out his steps. Brown, one of the best kickers in all of the state of California, if not the nation. He has been sensational for the College of the Canyons Cougars, and a person that Coach Ted Iacinda believes will be playing at the Division I level and continuing to play on Saturdays for a while. Here's Justin Watkins, who looks for a hole, but ends up getting tripped up at the 15-yard line. He is marked down at the 20, but a flag comes flying in at the 25-yard line. That will be a hold going against East LA. So presumably that will mark them back 15 yards, and it will be a 1st down and 10 to go from the 5-yard line. Or excuse me, that will be a 10-yard penalty, not a 15-yard penalty. So a 1st down and 10 to go from the 10-yard line, and East LA will jog out there, getting set for their first offensive possession. Rudy Garcia, who has split time with Wesley Blazik, will get the first offensive series for the East LA Huskies. Left-hand side, Daniel Munguia. He's also joined by Watkins. Fake handoff. Rudy Garcia is going to take it himself. He gets into the second level, and he will get a 7-yard gain up to the left hash right about the 17. Actually, no, they're going to mark him out at the 16-yard line. So it will be a 2nd down and 4 to go as Rudy Garcia in the backfield, joined by Maury Rams. Far side of the field, he's got DeMonte Presley. In the slot is Daniel Munguia. They end up handing it off, and easily getting stacked there will be Maury Rams as he runs into a wall of Julian Salazar and Avi Harris. Bring up a 3rd and 5. 11:18 to go here in the first quarter. Wide over towards the left-hand side for East LA is Jonathan Blackman. Blackman is now joined by Dante Coxum. On the far side of the field, DeMonte Presley. In the slot is Daniel Munguia. Munguia, the leading receiver for East LA. Empty backfield for Rudy Garcia. Sending for are the Canyons Cougars. This is right down the middle to Munguia, who is looking for a penalty. He will not get a PI. And that will bring up 4th down, and they will say 5 to go. And all of a sudden, Juan Rangel is going to have to jog out there. and punt for the East LA Huskies. So a score on the first drive of the game for College of the Canyons, and immediately following, they're able to force a 3-and-out on East LA. Back to receive is Trevon Elliott. He's joined out there by Jalen Lewis on the far side of the field. This is Juan Rangel getting set to kick it away. Rangel receives the snap, but he's not going to be able to get that kick off as flags come flying in prior to the snap. And it looks like that's going to be a false start going against East LA, so it will march them back to the 10-yard line, the original line of scrimmage. All of a sudden, the Huskies are pinned back. And if you're College of the Canyons, this is a picturesque start to this ball game. Juan Rangel receives the snap. He'll get it away off the side of his foot. Still gets a lot of distance on it. That ball is going to take an East LA bounce and finally level off at the 46-yard line of College of the Canyons. So still decent field goal or field positioning for the College of the Canyons Cougars as they get set to jog back onto the field. 10:38 left to go here in the first quarter of play. It's 7-0 College of the Canyons over top of the East LA Huskies. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Armani Eden, he's going to be joined by Zool over to his left. He's got 4 in the slot, 2 each on either side. Henderson, it's a pitch to Zool on the far side of the field, and it will be brought up to the 50, make it the 45-yard line after an extra effort that was given by Jordan Anderson, the 5'9" freshman out of Mission Hills Bishop Alemany. As we've got a down Husky on the far side of the field. It'll be a 2nd down and 1 to go. They need to get to the 49-yard line of East LA to get a first down. Well, we have a break in the action. We also want to remind you of all the other teams here on SportsNetUSA.net. The Fullerton College Hornets earlier getting a victory over top of the Palomar Comets by a total of 4 scores. That was live here on SportsNetUSA.net, in addition to Golden West College as well. And East LA is also hosted here on SportsNetUSA.net. Next week, we're going to have a host of games that will begin at 6 p.m. Fullerton College will be down in San Diego Mesa. Golden West is going to end up being, I believe they are at Saddleback, and then East LA will be right back here on November the 2nd for a 6 p.m. start, live from East LA College. So walking off for East LA was the injured Husky, John Tuitupo, as he's able to get off on his own power. And now College of the Canyons goes back to having a 2nd down and 1 to go from the 45-yard line of East LA. Henderson in the slot on the right-hand side. He's joined by Trevon Elliott. Far side of the field is Gilmore. In the backfield is Jordan Anderson on the right of Armani Eden. Anderson's going to get it. He's going to cut back over to his left-hand side. He's only got one guy to beat. He ends up dropping the football. That football is on the ground. Is it recovered by East LA College? No signal from the ref so far, and it will stay with College of the Canyons. They rule that that ball made its way out of bounds prior to East LA recovering it. So that's a huge break for College of the Canyons, as that ball was forced out by Shamar Westone, who has played pretty well for these Huskies in the secondary. He forced the fumble, but just wasn't able to get to it prior to it landing out of bounds. Clock ticking down, now sitting at 10:09 to go here in the first quarter. It's 7-0. College of the Canyons looking to strike again. Zool on the right, Anderson over to his left. He's got Henderson in the slot. Armani Eden's going to take it himself. He's going to go to Zool, and that's in for a touchdown. Play action pass for Armani Eden, and it goes in from 29 yards out. And College of the Canyons leads it by a score of 13-0. And that is a terrific start to this ball game. Their first 2 times touching the football, and they are able to get into the end zone each time. It's now 13-0 as Tanner Brown will step up to this extra point. 9:57 to go here in the first quarter of play. And it is a two-possession game. College of the Canyons blitzing East LA. Tanner Brown awaiting the snap. He gets that ball up, and he gets it through the uprights. So it's 14-0. Ryan Osborn joined by Albert Robles. And Albert, when you look at the start for College of the Canyons, to say that they have been explosive to begin this game off is pretty much an understatement.
Very much so. I mean, when Canyon is scoring on each of their first two possessions of the game, it definitely puts the Huskies in not the best of positions. Granted, they've only had the one possession, cut short by the holding call on the return, which wasn't for that much of a gain in the first place. The return for the Huskies, I feel, kind of got tripped up on the play. Probably could have had a better gain on that return. Tripped up, and the holding call definitely sat them back. Hopefully they can have a decent response here and maybe make this a one-possession game.
And you mentioned the return. I mean, Justin Watkins has been good for them in the return game so far this season. They're going to need a decent return here and get themselves into good field position, because if you're East LA, you got to think you need a reply here.
Very much so. Like the last thing you want to do is have another 3-and-out, just like their first possession, only to give it back to the Canyons, who are looking so far to score on every possession so far.
This one's kicked away by Tanner Brown. It's going to go to the far side where Jerome Robinson has some trouble with it. Will he need it in the end zone just in time? That is trouble for East LA. They will get decent field position, as this one is going to start at their own 25. But if you're East LA, that ball kind of sat there for a while, and if the College of the Canyons Cougars get up to it in time, all of a sudden not only is that technically a turnover, but that's also 6 more points.
Yeah, luckily the Huskies were able to stick with that actual catch. Very smart to just stay in the end zone, take that knee, and get 25 yards out. Because last thing you want it to do is muff that actual turn, or worst case scenario, make a return but only be stopped within 5 yards and have an even worse off-field position.
So here's Rudy Garcia. Garcia's immediately going to go over to his left. He's rolling out, still looking for a teammate. And he does end up finding a reception there, as that will go to Jonathan Blackman. Blackman, a sophomore 5'9" receiver out of Lawndale, and he gets 9 yards out of the play, making it a 2nd down and 1 to go. East LA needs a reply here. They're down 14-0, 9:40 left to go in the first quarter. Rudy Garcia taking a look at the sideline over to his left. That's the near side of the field, watching online. You got Watkins out there, Daniel Munguia as well, in addition to Blackman and Coxum. This will go back to Blackman. Blackman trying to go into contact. He ends up getting wrapped up by 2 different guys, but he does get the ball up to the 38-yard line, which will make it a 1st down and 10 to go from the 38. 9:16 left here in the first quarter of play, and again, College of the Canyons getting on the board pretty early here. 2 scores in 2 possessions for the College of the Canyons Cougars. Ted Iacenda has to be happy about that. If you're looking at it from the other side, Coach Godinez watching on as this team for East LA needs to get themselves on the board. In the slot on the left-hand side. Sorry, Albert.
That's right, and a good job for Blackman to stay with that actual play and get that 1st down, which is very much needed.
Check down over to Rams. Rams able to get out of bounds after gaining 3. And if you're Rudy Garcia, that's a smart play, considering that everyone that he had downfield was up about 15 to 20 yards, but they were all completely covered. So he has that check down over to his left. He does find Rams, and Rams picks up positive yardage. Now it brings a 2nd down and 7 to go from the 41-yard line of East LA. Rams in the backfield over to his left. Snap is taken. Rams on the option. It pitches over towards the left. Rams into contact again, but he will gain 4 yards, which is not a bad pickup, as it makes it a 3rd down and manageable. Just about 2 yards to go. They need to get up to the 48-yard line. It's currently at the 36, or excuse me, at the 46-yard line. You got James in the slot on the left, joined by Blackman. Munguia far side right, in addition to Justin Watkins. Rams in the backfield on the left hip of Rudy Garcia once more. They are on the left hash. Clock ticking down, 7:35 to go here in the first quarter. Rams wants to take it himself. He will get it, but with an extra effort, he gets up to the, we'll say the first down marker. It depends on the spot. One side, or one official has him short by at least a yard. That's the far side official. Near side official had him at the the first down marker. Rams thought he had it. He's going to end up subbing out. And now you'll have Armando Velasco, who runs in for East LA. James goes into the slot, right-hand side. DeMonte Presley, far side of the field. Daniel Munguia now in the slot on the left, joined by Blackman. 4th down and 1 to go. This is Rudy Garcia. The pass over to his left is deflected, and it goes to the floor. Tyler Richardson is there as he gets his hand up, and that deflection will end up making a turnover for East LA. It's a takeaway for the College of the Canyons Cougars, and their defense has looked spectacular in each of the 2 times that they have had to take the field. After the turnover, it makes it 6:45 left here in the first quarter. It's 14-0 East LA on top. Or excuse me, the College of the Canyons Cougars on top of East LA. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. College of the Canyons jogs back out there. They've got Zool in the backfield. Far side of the field, they have Henderson. It goes to Armani Eden. Eden looking for some space. He's trying to get up the field. He gains 3. And then will be dropped at the 49-yard line of East LA.
2.5-yard gain.
There's the snap. Zool wants to take it himself, and he does go up the field about 3 yards, bringing it to the 42-yard line on the right-hand side. So it's a 2nd down, make it a 3rd down and 5 to go for College of the Canyons. They're trying to make it 3 for 3 in terms of possessions to touchdowns. They're up 14-0 here in quarter number 1, just under 6 minutes left in the opening frame. Trevon Elliott on the right-hand side. On the left is Henderson. He's joined by Gilmore as well, and Smith. Smith is going to get it in the backfield. He easily has the 1st down, and he will race to the 28-yard line and run out of bounds after gaining about 16 yards. And that's a huge play for College of the Canyons. It keeps the chains moving, and the ball will be placed at the 28-yard line. A 1st down and 10 for the Cougars. New receiver running in is Michael Wilson on the right-hand side. He goes into the slot. He's joined out there by Amari Smith. Instead, it goes to Henderson. Henderson in the slot on the left-hand side. It's more of a screen, and he does get the 1st down, and he will make it 14 yards upfield before finally getting taken down at the 15. And this College of the Canyons offense is just moving down the field at will at this point. East LA looking to stop Armani Eden. Zool in the backfield on the right-hand side. Henderson out there in the slot on the right as well. Zool will take it, and he is stuffed. East LA needed that badly, and they do get a huge play from Emmanuel Cater. And for Cater, that will be his 1st tackle for loss in this one.
Cyrus Zool on the carry, brought down by number 90.
So Cyrus Zool was there. Now Jordan Anderson is going to run on. Taking a seat is Amari Smith. Right-hand side of the field, it will be Trevon Elliott. In the slot is Henderson. In the backfield are both Zool and Henderson, and on the far side is Gilmore. Armani Eden, the quarterback for College of the Canyons. He steps back. He's got a terrific pocket to look at. He's being chased down from behind. He's going to air it out towards the corner of the end zone for Gilmore. but that ball is placed out of bounds, and it will not be picked up by anyone. 3:52 left here in the first quarter of play. One thing that we're noticing is that considering how much College of the Canyons is willing to go in the air, the clock has stopped quite a bit here in the first quarter. Not necessarily as fast running as you would expect in the CCCAA, at least in the first half. College of the Canyons looking to reset their offense. Adden yelling out directions. He's got 10 seconds left on the play clock to do so. Ball is placed near the left hash. Henderson in the slot on the right-hand side. Adden looking left, looking left. Now he's going to roll over to his right. Will he take it himself? Still looking for a receiver. He will take it himself. Gets up to the 10-yard line. Finally pushed out of bounds, and he will make it down to the 8. That will make it a 4th down and 2 to go, make it 3 to go. And it looks like Tanner Brown may be jogging onto the field for College of the Canyons. And if you are the Cougars, you have not only the utmost respect, but you also have a ton of trust in your kicker, in Tanner Miller. Or excuse me, Tanner Brown. So Tanner Brown gets set for what should be about a 31-yarder. Gets it up into the air, little chip shot, and he is able to get that one to go. Tanner Brown makes it a 17-0 game. College of the Canyons on top of the East LA Huskies. You are watching and listening to East LA football here on SportsNetUSA.net. For Tanner Brown, he is now 8 of 10. 80% is long. This year is 50 yards. And in terms of extra points, he is 29 of 29, and now he is leading the team in scoring with a total of 53 points. So he tacks one on here. The field goal is good, and that makes it a 17-0 ball game. So College of the Canyons here in this first quarter, Albert, has yet to not score on an offensive possession.
3 possessions so far, first 2 for touchdowns, this third one being for a field goal. I mean, credit to the Husky defense for stepping up and preventing a touchdown. Still very early on in the game. Hopefully the Huskies can actually make something of what will now be their 3rd possession. They showed some improvement that last possession, but actually gaining some ground and actually getting some first downs. Just weren't able to come away with a score. Hopefully they can do something about it this time.
Back to receive will be Watkins. He is out there, joined by Presley. Ball is booted up. It's going to go to Watkins, far side of the field. He'll pick it up at the 2-yard line. He wants to go right down the middle. Goes down Broadway, gets tripped up, and he will be taken down at the 20-yard line. So East LA, not necessarily the positioning that they would like on the field, but they have a chance to reply with 2:55 left to go here in the first quarter of play. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football. You're on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles over to my left, live here at East LA. The Huskies trying to get themselves on the board in this one, as they've got Rudy Garcia, who's going to be joined in the backfield by Armando Velasco. Munguia going into motion. He's got Velasco over to his right. Velasco just needs one guy to beat, and he is shoestring tackled by Madison Wheeler. If Wheeler doesn't make that dive at the 18, or excuse me, the 28-yard line, Velasco would have been gone. But he does get tripped up. It's a first down. East LA will take it, and Armando Velasco goes back into the backfield. Munguia in the slot on the far side. This is Velasco. The entire defensive line for College of the Canyons ends up converging at the line of scrimmage, and he will get about 1.5 yards out of the deal. And that will make it a 2nd down and just about 9 to go. Ball sitting at the 31-yard line. Those of you watching online, East LA College going from right to left. And for Canyons, they are going from left to right in the white uniforms. East LA in the gray uniform tops and white pants. Snap is taken by Rudy Garcia. It's a screenplay over towards the left-hand side. Velasco running into 3 guys, one of them being Trey Villar. And Villar makes the tackle, 6'1" out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. That will make it a 3rd down and 5 to go. Band trying to get everyone into it here at East LA. It's 17-0, College of the Canyons on top. We're under a minute and a half to play here in the first quarter. Going back is Garcia, throws a laser over towards the left-hand side to Blackman. Beautifully placed football there by Rudy Garcia, and that's a 1st down for East LA. That ball goes up to the 49-yard line of College of the Canyons, and for the first time in this one, East LA is into College of the Canyons territory. Rudy Garcia leading this offense. He's got Watkins over to his left, joined by Blackman as well. This is going to go to James. James has a little room to run. He gets tackled by 2, one of them being Madison Wheeler. And Wheeler with the takedown. We'll have to watch on as it will be a 2nd down and 3 to go after gaining 7 yards. Play clock at 20 seconds. Mari Rams goes into motion on the right-hand side. He gets a handoff, looking to turn towards the edge, over to his left. Goes away from one tackle by Madison Wheeler. Wheeler went shoulder to shoulder with Rams, and Rams bounced right back off it. He will end up getting the 1st down as he gains 6. And it will be a 1st down and 10 to go from the 37-yard line. So the chains keep moving on this drive for Rudy Garcia and East LA. Looks like we may have a timeout on the field. We'll see whether it was East LA. Actually, it's going to be the end of the first. East LA reacted initially like their coaching staff had called the timeout. Instead, it will end off the first quarter. Our score, 17-0. The College of the Canyons Cougars with the lead over top of the East LA Huskies. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football. You're on Sportsnet USA.net. So the first quarter of play was dominated completely by the College of the Canyons Cougars. If you're East LA, not only do you need a reply coming up here soon, but you're encouraged by the drive that you're currently piecing together. Your drive started at the 20-yard line. Now you're currently sitting at the 38-yard line of College of the Canyons. The field's going to flip in just a couple of moments. But if you're East LA, Albert, I don't think you can afford to not get points on this drive.
You definitely can't. Like, you got to stick with a strong drive so far. They've only seen 1 3rd down so far and have converted so far for 3 1st downs. As I said, they're on the 38-yard line now. You have to make something of this play. You can't go down any further.
So East LA now goes from left to right. They've got the ball at the 38-yard line. It's a 1st and 10 to go. Near side of the field will be DeMonte Presley. It's a handoff right up the middle. Ball is loose. College of the Canyons says they have it. They have the football, and it is still not awarded to College of the Canyons. Everyone is switching around, and finally the Canyons Cougars are given the football. So that will be a fumble credited to East LA. And just moments ago, Albert, we were mentioning they needed points on this drive, but that is something that just breaks the back of your entire, not only your offense, but also your momentum.
Yeah, definitely heartbreaking, but that's the last thing you want to see if you're for the Huskies offense. They're moving the ball so well, only to fumble.
So now the College of the Canyons Cougars get to go back on offense. They are 3 for 3 in scoring drives. This is Armaniana ducking out of one tackle, but he gets taken down at the 33-yard line. That's going to be Emmanuel Cater, who's back there once again, his 2nd tackle for loss in this one. And a 2nd down and 15 to go is coming up in just a couple of moments. Ball gets placed back at the 33-yard line, near side of the field. They are going to send out Amari Smith. Henderson in the slot on the right-hand side. They've got Zool in the backfield. It's a free play. Armani Eden, left-hand side. He's looking for a teammate in Trevon Elliott, but that goes over top of him. A flag was tossed once again, so Armani Eden had his choice of receivers and where to go as East LA jumped off sides. So that's going to bring it to a 2nd down and 10 to go after the penalty is enforced.
Flag on the previous play, 5 yards, marked off against ELAC. 2nd down.
2nd down and 10 to go. Ball is at the 33. East LA jumps again as Armani Eden takes a look at the sideline. They're going with 3 wide, 2 on the near side, 1 being Smith, the other being Trevon Elliott, as Armani Eden goes with the handoff over to Anderson and actually make that Cyrus Zool. And Zool gets taken down after a gain of about half a yard. 3rd down and 9 to go. Third and 9 from the near side hash mark. Emmanuel Cater, who already has a sack and a tackle for loss in addition to that sack, will be lined up on the right-hand side. Also joined out there by Anthony Cabrera. Snap is taken, thrown right up the middle, and it's a 1st down. That will be given to Trevon Elliott. So Trevon Elliott with a quick little slant right down the middle, and he ends up getting the reception. It's a 1st down, a pickup of 14 yards. And now College of the Canyons with a 1st down and 10 to go from the 41-yard line, make it the 46-yard line. This will be handed off. Zool right down the middle, gets chased down from behind by Emmanuel Cater. As it will bring them up to the 34-yard line, make it the 35. 1st down and 10 again. Now East LA is just getting up the field as easily as possible. This will be an official's timeout as there's an injured Husky on the near side of the field, near the sideline. 12:57 left here in the 2nd quarter of play. It's 17-0. College of the Canyons with the lead over top of the East LA Huskies. You are listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Also here on SportsNetUSA.net, Golden West College, in addition to Fullerton and LA Valley. We'll get to their schedules in just a moment. Golden West is 3-3 as they are getting set to take on Riverside live from the Inland Empire. Rashawn Haylock out there on the call, the franchise, getting a chance to watch his team take on the number 3 team in the nation. This will go over towards the left, and it will fall right before reaching the intended target of Vantravius Williams. So that stops the clock at 12:27. Amani Eden sees Williams take off down the far sideline. Trevon Elliott wide over towards the left. Henderson in the slot on the left-hand side as well. He's going to be joined in the slot on the right by Lennox Howard. Snap is taken. Armani Eden will find an open Henderson. Henderson working into open space. Jukes out of 1 tackle and makes his way down to the 15-yard line. That is a total pickup of 20 yards on the quick toss over to the left by Eden. And it's a 17-0 ball game with College of the Canyons inside the red zone once more. They are 3 for 3 in terms of scoring inside the 30-yard line of East LA. Eden takes the snap. Looking over to his left. Has Henderson. It's in the air. It's still in the air. And that ball gets deflected twice as Henderson goes up for it, but he ends up running into a wall of Jamal Evans, who is backed up by Javon Hill as well. And both of those 2 guys end up wrestling the ball away from Henderson, and Henderson will have to check out for a moment. Trevon Elliott near side of the field. In the slot on the left will be Amari Smith. On the right is Lennox. On the far side, it will actually go to Lennox Howard. Howard trying to make a move. He does get out of one, and he will make his way down to the 7-yard line. Looks like there's an injured Husky over towards the left. Trainers running out there. Officials timeout for a moment as Aaron Hill was down. But he gets up, and he says he's fine and good to go. It's now a 3rd down and 1 yard remaining to get a first down. Ball is currently being placed at the 6, we'll say, and a half-yard line. On the left is Trevon Elliott. In the slot on the left is Amari Smith. Lennox Howard on the far side. He is also joined out there by Romello Cook. Cyrus Zool will get the handoff, and he is wrapped up immediately. That's a big tackle. That is made by Ben Key, sophomore defensive lineman, 6'4" out of Cathedral Catholic. Confusion on that Canyons sideline as they try and communicate the play call. Eden with wide receivers on his left and his right. Jumbo package in front of him, and a timeout will be taken by, it looks like, College of the Canyons, or make it East LA. That is their first called timeout. And with 10:33 left to go here in the second quarter, it's 17-0. College of the Canyons with the lead over top of the East LA Huskies. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Earlier we mentioned Golden West College, who is still getting set for their ball game. That will start at 7 p.m. at Riverside. 3-3 Golden West getting set to take on the Riverside City College Tigers, who are currently tied for number 3 in the state of California. San Mateo, Saddleback also up there as well. Fullerton College had a victory earlier today, 55-42 the final there, as Palomar made a late push, but Fullerton College now pulls to within 1 game of 500, and they are now 3-4. Armani Eden takes the snap. He looks to hand it off. Over towards the left-hand side is Zool. He gets into the end zone for a touchdown. College of the Canyons gets back on the board. It's now 23-0. College of the Canyons with a big-time lead over top of East LA. There's a flag that goes flying in after the play is over. It might be excessive celebration or an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the College of the Canyons Cougars, as the extra point squad runs onto the field for Canyons. White Hat getting the official ruling, and it is indeed a touchdown, followed by an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that goes against College of the Canyons, which will be enforced on the kickoff. So Tanner Brown looking to make it a total of 32 for 32 in terms of point afters attempted and made. Snap is there, the hold is well, kick is up, and the kick is through. 24-0. College of the Canyons with a decisive lead over top of East LA. 10:24 left to go here in the first quarter of play. You're watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. If you're looking at East LA, yes, they're down 24-0, but what they need here is a sustained drive. We saw them earlier end up marching around 60 yards downfield, only to fumble the ball, and that's what allowed College of the Canyons to move up the field just a few moments ago. If you're East LA, Albert, you need something here. We talked about it on their 2 previous drives. You need points. But most importantly, you have to secure the football.
Yeah, you have to secure the football if you're going to be running the offense like it is so far. I mean, that last possession from the Huskies was a significant improvement. You know, they got some first downs that they desperately needed. Huge improvement there, especially when you compare that to their first drive. But when they turned that over to Canyons, I mean, Canyons saw 2 third downs and converted on both. That last third down got to the 4th down, but then, of course, Zool rushes that in for the touchdown. And, of course, that's their 4th consecutive score on their 4th possession. Not looking good so far.
When you look at these East LA Huskies, it doesn't seem necessarily like College of the Canyons is overwhelming. We haven't seen these giant 50 to 60-yard plays, but we have seen them just consistently dink and dive their way forward. 6 yards here, 7 yards here, 15 yards after that. Maybe they'll get a penalty which knocks them back 5, but they'll regain it on a 17-yard pass attempt later, and they just continue to wear down East LA offensively. This will be picked up by the East LA Huskies. That's going to be taken up the field, and finally getting taken down will be Juan Rangel. And if you're East LA, that is field positioning that you will take. On their previous 2 possessions, they started at their own 25 and their own 15-yard line. So if you're College of the Canyons, you're watching on, sitting happy right now, 24-0. But if you're East LA, you need Rudy Garcia to get a spark going here. He has moved the offense pretty well in the time that he has been there, but it's a matter of whether or not they can consistently crank out first downs. They need to move it along. Maury Rams is in the backfield. He's joined by Rudy Garcia. The option is there. Garcia takes it himself, and he will dive through 3 different defenders en route to a 9-yard gain. Looked like 8 initially, but the far side official ruled that that ball was downed at the 41-yard line. So it's a 2nd down and 1 to go. Let's go Huskies is the call from the crowd here directly beneath us. Live at East LA. It is East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Snap is taken. It's going to go to Rams. Rams wants to go over towards the right-hand side, or excuse me, that's Armando Velasco. Velasco, the 6-foot sophomore out of St. Paul, went to Santa Fe Springs High School. He will get back to the line of scrimmage and no further. Or excuse me, he ends up getting the first down. It was a 2nd down and 1 to go, so he got the first. Ball is now at the 43-yard line of East LA. Both Rams and Velasco are in the backfield. Snap is taken by Garcia. It's going to be taken by Garcia himself as he goes down with the option and gets wrestled to the floor after a gain of 2. And the ball gets placed at the 45-yard line. Under 8:50 to go. 24-point lead for College of the Canyons. East LA needs to get on the board here. In the backfield, they have Adrian Ochoa joined by Armando Velasco. Right-hand side of the field is DeMonte Presley in the slot. On the far side is James. Munguia out there as well as the snap is taken. This will be dumped off towards Ochoa, but Ochoa ends up dropping that football to the floor at the 47-yard line, and it will make it a 3rd down and 8 to go. Everyone looking towards the sideline. Daniel Munguia is in the slot on the right. He's going to switch over towards the left. Far side of the field, they have Coxum out there. Near side, it is DeMonte Presley. James is in the slot on the right as well. College of the Canyons initially showing that they're going to bring 3. They end up having a delayed blitz. This is going to go over towards the right, and a 4th down is coming up as Rudy Garcia had to toss that football out of bounds. Juan Rango will have to kick it away. So even when East LA is able to get a little bit of something going, they get a first down. They get a nice gain on second, but they aren't able to finish off third down conversions.
Very unfortunate for the Huskies there. They had great position on the 32-yard line. Garcia keeps it, for 9 yards, gets the second at 1. Rams gets the first down, and then just 2-yard gain from Garcia after that, and then 2 incomplete passes just absolutely killed that drive.
Here's a fake punt that is going to be tossed over towards the right and caught.
And I think I just spoke too soon.
East LA will take it as Brian Jones is on the receiving end of that one. It was tossed by Jamal Evans. And for College of the Canyons, they were stacking the box because they wanted to go after the punt block. And this gives them an opportunity with a first down at the 38-yard line. It gives them an opportunity to seize momentum back once more.
Now, when I said the drive was dead, what I really meant was that drive is still alive. That momentum is something that the Huskies desperately need. Here's hoping they can capitalize off of it.
Brian Jones on the end around. He ends up getting tackled from behind as there's going to be a flag flying in. Daniel Munguia was asking for the horse collar. It ends up officially as a loss of 2. But with the penalty coming up, it could be an automatic first down for East LA. White hat jogs out there. Personal foul. Actually, it's a face mask going against College of the Canyons. Our officials tonight, referee Ed Zapolsky, Ron Gillenberg as the umpire, head linesman Chad Murphy, line judge is Kyle Takau, field judge is Corey McMenamin, side judge of John Gill, and back judge of Victor Hawthorne. So Ed Zapolsky watching in the backfield as Rudy Garcia will take the snap. He's looking over to his left initially. He's going to roll over to his right. He's got some wide open space to run with, and he will end up gaining 6 to the 19-yard line. That's a decent gain on first down. Now you've got second down and 4 to go. Under 7 minutes to play here in quarter number 1. East LA desperately needs some points here. They've got to get back in this ball game. Velasco goes into motion over towards the right-hand side. Max protection. Brian Jones makes the catch at the yardstick, but he will be marked just short. So a third down and 1 yard to go.
Third and 1.
Far side of the field is Justin Watkins. Near side is James. Munguia in the slot as College of the Canyons jumps heavily, and that's going to be a first down coming up for East LA. Encroachment going against the College of the Canyons Cougars.
Canyon Cougars getting a little antsy there. Definitely for the benefit of the Huskies. They needed that first down. Down they're in the red zone and can hopefully get a touchdown. Minimum, at least walk away with a field goal.
Ball spotted on the 12-yard line. First down for ELAC.
So Munguia goes into the slot on the left. Rudy Garcia sends him in motion. Munguia is going to take it. The handoff over towards the right. Munguia works his way for about a 2.5-yard gain down to the 8-yard line. And it's a second down and 7 to go. So he ends up running about 40 yards over to his right as he went from the left slot all the way over to the right sideline, but only gains a total of 3. 5:20 left here in quarter number 1. Velasco is in the backfield, trips over towards the left-hand side, one being James. Here's an option play. It's going to go over to Velasco. Velasco gets swarmed by 4 different defenders for the Cougars. Now we're going to have a 3rd down and 8 to go from the 40-yard line.
Brings up a 3rd and 8 for ELAC.
So 3rd down and 8 yards to go. 24-0. College of the Canyons is up. This is a golden opportunity for East LA to get themselves on the board before the half. Clock ticking down to under 4.5 minutes left. You're in quarter number 2. Jogging in there is Joel Vieira. As a fullback, he is told to dive up the middle, and he will get back to the original line of scrimmage. That brings out the field goal team, as Juan Rango will have an opportunity to get the team on the board.
Not entirely sure what the thought process was on the Huskies' part for that particular play.
He is currently 5 of 8, 63% along a 50. There's the opportunity, nearly blocked, and it looks like it is through the uprights and good. Juan Rango makes it 24-3. East LA gets on the board. 3:44 left here in quarter number 2. You're watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. And let's go back to that play call that you were just talking about moments ago. When you look at East LA, they had a 3rd down and 8 to go. They end up going with a fullback dive right up the middle.
Very questionable. I feel like they probably forgot either one, what down they were, or where their field position was. I mean, that 1 yard really wasn't going to improve their position. Like, they needed more than those yards to even have a chance of converting that down to get even closer and, you know, get a new set of downs to hopefully get a touchdown. I mean, I'm sure they're happy that they walked away with a field goal, but that can't be what you were looking to get.
So it ends up allowing them, as you said, to get the field goal. The positioning was right. But now you've got to go out and stop College of the Canyons in the last 3:44 of the first half of play. So Juan Rango will measure out his steps. Back to receive for the College of the Canyons Cougars, as Jalen Lewis and Taquan Gilmore will be back. Rango goes with a little pooch kick. Nearly an onside opportunity as East LA tries to fall on it. It looks like College of the Canyons recovered that one. Took a very nice East LA hop as they sorted out underneath the pile, trying to find where that football lies. East LA is saying that they recovered. College of the Canyons says that they have the football. Both officials not giving an official signal, and now they will say that it is down and given to the Cougars.
Cougar ball.
And that was something that I ended up seeing over at the Fullerton College game earlier today here on SportsNetUSA.net, in which that little pooch kick works. You end up kicking it with enough spin that when the ball hits the turf, it automatically wants to curve back towards you. The same thing happens there. They get the bounce that they want. However, College of the Canyons ends up playing up quicker, and they allow for Ryan Camacho to fall on top of it just before East LA can recover.
Could have been very disastrous for the Cougars on that play, but luckily they swarmed all over that ball and did not actually risk a turnover.
That will be thrown to the far side of the field, a loss of 4, as there's an injured Cougar on the field. Actually, it looked like it initially.
Gilmore on the reception.
As offensive lineman Killian Zaire out of Hohenkirchen, Germany. 6'7", 295 sophomore.
That's a big boy.
Armani Eden dropping back, a laser right up the middle, and he has an open receiver in Henderson. Henderson makes one guy miss. He's going to go to the far sideline, and he's got an open end zone to look at. 60 yards on the reception, and College of the Canyons is back in the end zone. Touchdown, Cougars. It's a beautiful dart that is thrown by Armani Eden right up the middle of the field. And if you're Henderson, he's just got a little bit too much speed on him as he receives that ball in stride. And by the time he looks upfield, he sees that there's a wide open lane over to his right. He cuts it across, and he is in the end zone, making it a 30-3 game, waiting for Tanner Brown to see whether or not he's able to tack on the extra point. Brown says he is ready. Snap is away, the hold is down, and the kick is up and through. 31-3.
Brown's PAT is good for the.
And when you go back to that throw by Armani Eden, it was really reminiscent of something that we saw from Rudy Garcia earlier in the afternoon, in which he had a 22-yard pickup that went to Justin Blackman right around the 45-yard line. And it was an absolute laser across 3 different defenders and landed perfectly in Blackman's hands. It's the same thing here with Armani Eden. He throws it right down the middle of the field in between 2 different linebackers, and it lands beautifully in Henderson's hands. And all he has to do is look up the field because that ball was laced into his arms.
Yeah, the Huskies defense had absolutely no chance. Like, the coverages were on opposite ends of the field. Henderson was just clear to run straight through the middle into the end zone for the 5th straight possession and score for College of the Canyons.
So Tanner Brown will kick it away. And you mentioned that the 5th straight score, they have not punted yet. They have not been denied points on any of their possessions yet. This is going to go all the way back to Watkins. Watkins ranging back at the 1-yard line. He's going to cross to the other side of the field. There is a flag that was thrown right about the 10-yard line where we have a Husky who is down. And that ball ends up going out at the 23-yard line. But we'll see what the call is here from the white hat, Ed Sapolsky.
Yeah, it looks to be Brian Jones a little worse for wear for the Huskies. Slow moving off the field there.
Ed Zapolsky still getting an explanation. It is a hold going against East LA. That is declined. Another hold going against East LA on the far side of the field. That one is accepted. And it will be a 1st down and 10 to go from the 5-yard line is where they're going to mark it. And we saw it on the first possession of the afternoon for East LA, where they got decent field positioning on a return, but they were marked back thanks to a hold, and that's what stalled them initially. So now if you're Rudy Garcia, you've got to get something going here. East LA got their first points of the afternoon on their last possession, in which they marched up the field about 60 to 65 yards in 3 minutes of game time. Rudy Garcia says, I'm going to take it myself. I'll call my own number, and that will bring him down to the 10-yard line. And a total pickup of about 4 yards. So now he's 2nd down and 6 to go.
Initially hit by number 81, Romello Cook.
Far side of the field is DeMonte Presley. On the near side is Blackman. Daniel Munguia in the slot on the left. Snap is taken, given up to Velasco. Velasco gets taken down from behind, and he will only get 1 yard out of the entire ordeal.
Mondo Velasco on the carry.
Checking in is James. Out will go Ochoa.
Lloyd Walker the 4th.
Now you've got 3 wide for East LA. Make it 4 wide. One of the receivers on the right is Daniel Dexter. He's joined out there by Jaden James, the 5'10" freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida. Trips over to the right with Munguia as well. Rudy Garcia getting pressured. He's going to unload, and he will send it over to Daniel Dexter. That will go out of bounds to the floor, incomplete, and Juan Rangel will have to kick it away. So East LA sees about 1:21 left on the first half clock. Now this has to be a good punt by Juan Rangel. because if you are Wrangell, you need this one to get away and pin College of the Canyons inside of their own territory. It's currently set up halfway through the end zone of East LA. He gets it away. It's a high booming kick that gets up to the 45-yard line and takes a heavy East LA College roll. That is something huge for the Huskies, and it will be marked down at the 40, make it the 39-yard line. So just what Juan Wrangell needed to do for East LA. He comes in and booms one out. That's just about a 54-yard punt for East LA. Crucial for the Huskies. 31-3 is our score. East LA currently with the deficit, trying to get back in it. 1:07 left in quarter number 2. You are watching and listening to East LA College football on SportsNetUSA.net. 3 on the defensive line looking to rush. Cater nearly gets to Armani Eden, getting away from 1, getting away from 2. Is the receiver there for College of the Canyons. That's Romello Cook, who just ran on for Henderson. Last minute substitution for the College of the Canyons Cougars. It's a 15-yard gain and an official first down. And it looks like there's an additional penalty going against East LA. 15-yard marker, as that will be a face mask. So a huge penalty as College of the Canyons works their way downfield even more. First down and 10 to go from the 30-yard line. Armani Eden takes the snap. He's looking over to his left. He's getting pressure from behind, but he doesn't know it. The ball is loose. It's on the floor, and East LA may have possession. The officials taking a look. Ed Zapolsky is down there as well. Is it going to be East LA? The ball is recovered by the Huskies. That's a turnover and a takeaway for the East LA Huskies, and Emmanuel Cater and the entire defensive line get it done there. Tremaine Savea is in for the strip sack as well, as Armani Eden puts that football on the floor. 37.6 to go here in the first half, and a huge break for East LA. Our score, 31-3, Canyons on top. You are watching and listening to East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles over to my left, and East LA just recently getting a big-time break. They got the takeaway. Now they need to convert. Here's a chance over towards the right-hand side for Velasco, but that screen pass, or rather check down, ends up getting batted out of the air successfully by Jonathan Thomas, 6'3" linebacker out of West Hills, Chaminade.
Second down.
So the clock is currently stopped. 32.9 left. Second down and 10 to go. Ball is placed at the 32-yard line. 4 guys on the defensive line, only 3 rush. There is some pressure. Here's a screen pass and an absolute booming hit on Velasco, as he is not able to haul in the catch. That is placed on him by Julian Salazar, 6'1" linebacker out of Santa Clarita, went to Hart High School. And Salazar, I mean, just looking at your reaction, Albert, the initial flinch because that ball was thrown and immediately Velasco got leveled.
It did not look pretty on the play. Like, you know it's a hard contact play when your helmet comes off on the play and immediately to the sideline you go.
And with that helmet coming off, he is forced to sit for 1 offensive play. So he, as you mentioned, jogs off to the sideline. Here's a screen pass over towards the right. Jaden James gets up the field, and that ball is loose, picked up by Canyons, taken out of bounds. Are they going to rule him down on contact is the question, and that is exactly what they will do. So East LA continues with possession, 10.6 seconds left to go. All 3 timeouts saved for East LA, and they're going to take their first of the half here. It's a first down and 10 to go from the 43-yard line of East LA. They're trying to get back into the end zone and get some points on the board. 31-3 is our score, a 28-point lead for College of the Canyons. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on Sportsnet USA.net. And we'd like to remind you that all games here on Sportsnet USA.net are brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Maybe you're looking for that perfect new or used vehicle for yourself. You're thinking, well, I want my commute to be smoother, I want it to be more efficient, and I want to get there in style. Check out Miller Toyota of Anaheim. They've got a huge variety and selection of vehicles that you can take a look at not only in person, but you can also check them out online. Now, the online address is millertoyotaofanaheim.com. Again, that is millertoyotaofanaheim.com, or you can visit them in person at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and education. Here's Rudy Garcia. He's going to be taken down. And that will be a sack for Jonathan Thomas as time will wind down here in the first half of play. Our score, 31-3. The lead for the College of the Canyons Cougars over top of the East LA Huskies. And for College of the Canyons, that's a huge first half. In the first quarter alone, they were able to score 17 points and really pin back East LA. They added to it with 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. The officials are conferring here, as I believe they're just going to allow East LA to get into the locker room first before College of the Canyons marches their way across the field. Coach Ted Iacenda has to be happy with the way that his team played in the first half, as Ed Zapolsky allows for the Canyons Cougars to walk across. And Albert, when you look at half number 1, not only was it controlled by the Cougars, but it seemed like they were able to get out the field at will whenever they had the football.
Yeah, it seemed like on every drive, with the exception of that last possession, the only time that Canyons was not able to actually score. They had a first down with that 15-yard pass to Cook. Then the penalty, and then, sure enough, the fumble to be covered by ELAC, and then ELAC immediately wastes that drive. They had a hold called on them, a couple incomplete passes, a sack to end the half. If I'm the Huskies, I'm a little bit optimistic in terms of that we were finally able to keep them from scoring, but you have to be able to capitalize on your possessions when you actually get a turnover. I mean, there isn't much else to say about it. You need to be able to capitalize. They were doing so well and immediately starting to regress. Hopefully, if I'm the coach of the Huskies, I'm gonna highlight note the actual highlights and the positivity that they actually gained from that, and hopefully they come out strong, knowing that they're going to get the ball coming into the third quarter.
And you mentioned that they deferred at the beginning of the ball game, which again gives them that possession in the second half of play. Coach Bobby Godinez is going to have to give his team quite the speech at halftime, because they're going against a high-powered offense of College of the Canyons. You mentioned it. In their possessions, they have a total of 6 possessions. They score on 5 out of the 6. That's not only is that efficient, but that's also huge for College of the Canyons, considering that it's their first 6 possessions of the game. It's not like they were sprinkled in. They were their first 6 possessions of the ball game, and that brings us to our current score of 31-3. East LA is going to have to get on the board often in the second half. We will step aside, and when we come back, we'll have some halftime stats in addition to the rest of East LA and College of the Canyons. Our score, 31-3 at halftime. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on Sportsnet USA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles over to my left-hand side as we get set for the second half. Now, if you're East LA, you're hoping that this second half is just as spicy as the tacos we had a few moments ago, because you need as many touchdowns as possible in as few possessions as you possibly can do so. When you look at College of the Canyons, they're up 31-3 over top of the East LA Huskies. East LA desperately needs good field positioning to start off this upcoming drive. They're going to end up getting the ball here as they deferred in the first half, but they haven't been able to get solid field positioning on kick returns to start off this ball game. Back to receive will be Justin Watkins. Ball is going to go the way of Watkins as he will field it at the 3-yard line on the right-hand side. He's going to cross over towards the left-hand side, looking for a blocker. Does have one, but a flag comes flying in, and presumably from the spot where that flag is thrown, you're going to normally see a holding call in this situation. We will see what the call is here in just a couple of moments. If it is so, it will backtrack them all the way to the 13-yard line. So the call from Ed Zapolsky, the white hat, is it is a hold, and it will march them back. Actually, it goes to the 14-yard line. So again, if you're East LA, that's the third time that we have seen them get a holding call on their initial kick return. So the East LA Huskies are desperately going to need to get something together here. They are down 31-3. They need scoring drives as quickly as possible.
Huskies will take over first down ball on the 14-yard line.
Ball goes to Rudy Garcia. Garcia tries to find James, and he does find a diving Jaden James for a reception at the 19, make it the 18-yard line. And that will be good for a total of 3 yards to make it 2nd down and 7 to go. On the right-hand side is Daniel Munguia. Far over towards the right is Devontae Presley. Far side of the field. 2 receivers, one in the slot, one on the far side. This will end up being a handoff. It goes right up the middle, and a head over heels flip on the run there by Javonte Van Buren. Actually, excuse me, not Javonte Van Buren, but Darian Turner. Turner, 5'9", 195 out of Manual Arts here in LA. And he had himself a solid run to bring up a 1st down and 10 to go at the 32-yard line. Receivers on the right-hand side, Munguia and Watkins. Far side, it is James, and he is joined out there as this will go over towards Presley. Presley makes the reception, and he ends up getting 7 on the quick toss, and it brings him up to the 39-yard line.
36 for ELAC, Darian Turner.
So the reception by DeMonte Presley, 6'3" out of Lakeside, Georgia. Lakeside High School in Atlanta. 13:15 to go here in the 3rd quarter of play. East LA needs as many scoring drives as possible. 4 linemen up front for College of the Canyons. It's going to be a handoff to the right. It goes back to Turner. And Turner is not able to get more than a yard. Ball will get placed at the 40-yard line, bringing up a 3rd down and 2 to go.
Number 51, Ben Seymour on the stop.
And this next play is something that's going to be key for the Huskies, is converting on 3rd down. In that first half, the Huskies saw 6 3rd downs and converted only once. Technically 2 if you count the face mask, which gave them an automatic 1st down.
Moving up will be Velasquez. This goes over towards the right as Rudy Garcia tries to dive for the 1st down. It looked like he lost his footing prior to reaching the 38-yard line, stumbled his way to the 41. That's going to be a 4th down and 1 to go. And here's the deal with East LA being down in this situation. They're down 31-3, so you would think that Coach Godinez would want to go for it here. Instead, he thinks about it long enough, decides that he wants to kick it away, and Juan Rangel is going to hop on the field for East LA. You mentioned those 3rd down conversions. That was something that was huge in the Mount Sac game as well. As you heard Dan Godino on the call here on SportsNetUSA.net. Everyone switching around. Now Rangel is able to get it away. High floating spinner that's going to bounce at the 20-yard line and take a big East LA roll, which will end up going as a 47-yard punt. So Juan Rangel has given them an opportunity to back them up deeper in Canyons territory, but if you are East LA, you quite literally in this situation have no other options except stopping Canyons on 3 and outs.
10 on the 13-yard line for Canyon. At center this evening,
Huskies defense definitely needs to make the most out of this next possession for Canyons. They were able to complete prevent them from scoring on that last drive, which I think is the most important thing to take away from. They managed to force a fumble and recover. Granted, they didn't do anything with that next possession, but at least it showed the Huskies have what it takes to keep the Canyon offense off the field.
And for Coach Godinez, he was not happy with the coverage that he saw going against College of the Canyons just a few moments ago. He has to take a timeout. So just about 3.5 minutes into this second half, and the first timeout of the second half is taken by East LA. Our score is 31-3, a 28-point lead for College of the Canyons. You are watching and listening to East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Now, here on SportsNetUSA.net, a 28-point comeback is not unprecedented. We saw it a couple weeks ago with Fullerton College. They had less than a quarter to play, and they came back from 26 points down to tie it up with Ventura. And we have seen in the past Golden West twice in the last 6 years has come back from 21-point deficits late in games to be able to get themselves wins. This is a tough 6-yard run that is presented by College of the Canyons. Runner there was Moises Haynes, 5'9" out of Santa Clarita. So a local guy for College of the Canyons. But again, here on SportsNetUSA.net, comeback is not unprecedented, but East LA has to get something going in a hurry. It's a free play here, as this will be tossed up down the far sideline, going up, reaching, and not able to make the catch.
Flag on that play, most likely going to be offside on the Husky defense.
Daquan Gilmore was trying to make the catch there. That ends up falling to the floor incomplete. Michael Wilson is now in at quarterback for College of the Canyons. And you mentioned that. That's part of the free play there. So it will give them a first down after they tack on the 5 yards. And if you're East LA, that is backbreaking because you had the incomplete pass there moments ago. You have a brand new quarterback for College of the Canyons. You got to get into the backfield. They have 1 tackle for a loss in addition to another sack. So 2 tackles for loss overall in the game. They're going to need one here. They need Emmanuel Cater to come up big for them. Wilson going back. 3 guys rush. This will be a zip line pass over towards the left to Amari Smith. And Smith with a terrific job to adjust in midair and make sure that he got that pass safely secured in his arms. It's going to be a pickup of 21 yards as Wilson gets his first reception here in the second half. Ball is placed at the 42-yard line. 1st and 10 to go for College of the Canyons. Handoff, that is going to go to Haynes, and Haynes gets stacked right at the line of scrimmage. So no gain and no loss.
Number 95, Jermaine Sevilla with the stop. Loss on the play.
That pass to Smith on the previous play was simply jaw-dropping, and I'm sure the Husky defense feels the same way. They had no idea how to react to that catch.
This will be a handoff. Other side, Moises Haynes gets taken down after a gain of, we'll say, 4 inches. He gets right back to the line of scrimmage and just a little bit after. And you talk about this East LA defense, and it seems like they're starting to read College of the Canyons better. This is, of course, in just the 6 snaps that we have seen coming out of the half. Michael Wilson at quarterback, a change in the backfield. This will end up going to Wilson. Wilson rolling over to his left, looking for an opportunity. He's going to get the first down. He'll run it himself, get into the secondary, and make his way down to the 39-yard line. That is a total pickup of 13 yards, a huge run for College of the Canyons, and just when it looked like East LA had them wrapped up on a 3rd down, you said it just before we went to the half, and just coming out of halftime as well, College of the Canyons has been good on third down, and it's going to be about third down conversions here in the second half.
In that first half alone, Canyon saw 3 third downs, converted on 1, a field goal on the first fourth down, and a touchdown on the second fourth down. I don't know how much you can do to combat that other than stop them from converting on third down.
Moises Haynes with a tough run again, as he's able to make 2 guys miss and then get himself a 6-yard carry. He will be marked down at the 33-yard line, halfway in between the 33 and the 34. Michael Wilson in at quarterback. He takes a look. The left-handed QB tosses it to Haynes. Haynes on the far side of the field, runs over a guy, and he will get himself down to the 26-yard line. That's a first down for College of the Canyons. The entire sideline is revved up for the Cougars. Michael Wilson with Haynes on his right. It's been working for the most part. Here's Wilson. He calls his own number. He gets into the secondary. Touchdown, Canyons. So Michael Wilson checks in at quarterback, and it's almost as if they get more dynamic as they add an entire second level. Wilson entered having just completed 3 passes all season long for 83 yards in total, and rushing-wise, Wilson had a total of 4 attempts for 23 yards. Well, now he's got a touchdown. He's got 4 receptions as well. And College of the Canyons is back on the board to make it 37-3. The Cougars put themselves on top by more than, we'll say, about 4.5 possessions. This is booted up by Tanner Brown. Brown initially kind of with a hitch in the step as that ball was placed down low, but he is able to get it to go right through. 38-3. 7 touchdowns for College of the Canyons and a field goal for Tanner Brown. Tanner Brown has been busy. He has a total of 11 points tonight, and he continues to extend his lead in overall point scoring for this Canyons offense. 7:44 left here in quarter number 3. It's 38-3 in favor of Canyons. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Now, Bert, you look at this offense, and Michael Wilson steps in, and all of a sudden, not only do they get a touchdown, but possibly might have been their quickest drive yet.
I'd have to say so. I mean, that's probably their second quickest drive. Their fastest drive was that onside kick that I guess the Huskies attempted. They lost 4 yards on their first play, and then immediately throw a passing touchdown to Henderson.
So the second fastest drive of the afternoon for Wilson and the Canyons offense, as this will be picked up and taken on the right side by East LA. That is Darian Turner who is out there. Turner ends up returning it a total of 25 yards. There's a flag at the end of it, and it may go against East LA again. It might be their 4th hold on a kickoff return. It is indeed a hold against East LA. This time it's going to back them up to the 18, make it the 17-yard line. And that's huge, again, for East LA, as they haven't been able to have good field position because they have 4 different holds that have been called against them. And actually, you can include 5 holds because one of them was declined.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for the Huskies so far. I mean, the field position is one thing. I mean, they definitely are able to advance, beyond that position and at least get halfway up the field. But I mean, the key takeaway are those third downs. They're simply not converting when they need to. The offense needs to be able to get through that.
Here's Rudy Garcia rolling over to his left. He decides to take it himself, and he will hit the turf after a gain of 5. And you mentioned that. I mean, what truly makes the mark of a great team at the community college level is how much they're able to just roll right through those different mistakes. If they end up getting one, it doesn't happen again. That's what you're seeing from Canyons. That's what you saw from Riverside last year and Laney as well. But when you're looking at East LA this year, they have improved significantly from last year. Last year, nobody expected them to get the amount of wins that they did, a total of 4. In moving up from the American to the National Conference. Now this year, they're already at 3. They have an additional chance to move up in the National Conference, as that will be a total gain of 2 yards on a run right up the middle for Turner. Actually checking in there just a few moments ago was Pierre Robinson. That was the first time that he had checked in all afternoon. He's their leading rusher, and he only has 1 carry. But when you're looking at East LA, that's got to be one area that they need to improve on, those penalties that can be backbreakers in terms of momentum, and especially going against a top 10 ranked opponent in College of the Canyons.
I definitely have to agree with you on that, Ryan. I mean, field position is one thing, but if you're constantly hindering yourselves by 5-10 yards on unnecessary holding plays on a return, it's going to kill that momentum every single time, regardless on whether or not you convert on 3rd down. And luckily, the Huskies managed to actually convert their 2nd 3rd down of the entire game.
When you're looking at that 3rd down conversion rate, yeah, we're harping on it a little. Not necessarily much, but we're harping on it quite a bit because it has made an effect here. Whenever East LA has gone on offense, as this will be a toss over into the flat on the right-hand side, Turner is able to get back to the line of scrimmage, but no further. Every time that they get on offense, every time that they have an offensive series, it seems as if they have hindered themselves on those 3rd down conversions, because they could have as much momentum as possible. And we saw that in the first half, in which they marched 60 yards downfield, but they weren't able to continue their drive because they stopped at 3rd down.
It's definitely looking to be a vicious cycle. Like when they get the ball, they hinder themselves out by those holding calls, and then fail to convert the gains that they are able to actually improve upon.
Toss over towards the right. That ends up going into the arms of Justin Watkins. Watkins gains 5, and it will be marked down as a 3rd down and 5 yards to go.
2nd and 5.
$20 seconds left on the play clock.
3rd down and 5 to go for ELAC.
Pierre Robinson goes back into the backfield on the right-hand side. This will be tossed over towards Watkins in the air. He makes the catch, and he'll haul it in for a 23-yard gain. That's huge for Watkins. He uses his 6'3" frame and boxes out his defender. And if you're looking at it from Rudy Garcia's perspective, you love to have that huge target on the right side. Courtney Chandler was the one in coverage, and Chandler was the one who eventually wrestled him to the floor. 1st down and 10 at the 37-yard line. Blitz is coming for College of the Canyons. Rudy Garcia tries to take it up the field himself. He will get 2.
That was a big-time 1st down catch from Watkins, desperately needed. Hopefully this will give Huskies the momentum that they sorely need.
Pierre Robinson having a quick chat with Rudy Garcia. Garcia taking a look at his offensive coordinator. Far side of the field, DeMonte Presley is out there. He's joined by Jaden James, Daniel Mungia, and Justin Watkins. Watkins checking himself with the line judge. Pierre Robinson will watch Daniel Mungia go into motion. Rudy Garcia wants to take it himself. He goes over to the right-hand side. He ends up getting past 2 different linebackers and a pickup of 16 yards on the play, bringing him down to the 20-yard line and allowing for a 1st down and 10 to go for East LA. This has been a successful drive thus far for the East LA Huskies. 38-3 is our score.
And one thing that's very noticeable to point out for the Huskies so far, Garcia is starting to keep the ball a little bit more and just run the ball himself. He's not really throwing it or handing it off as much as he saw earlier on in the game.
There's Rudy Garcia with a bullet pass over towards the right. Gain of 6, and you just mentioned it. The poise of Rudy Garcia here in this second half, and specifically on this drive, has really been the difference as they work their way upfield. That's a gain of 7 yards. When you look at Garcia, he's remaining calm whenever he is rushed outside of the pocket and surveying his options. Earlier, you were kind of seeing him panic whenever he got into open field. He'd toss it downfield. Now, in this case, he's finding receivers. Now he works his way upfield after taking the option. He'll get the first down again, and the chains keep rolling for East LA. 38-3. East LA trying to get back into it. Clock ticking down to under 2.5 to go here in the third quarter. Right-hand side is Justin Watkins. Far side of the field is Cedric Hood, who checks in for the first time this afternoon. Daniel Munguia on the right, joined by Jaden James as well. Pierre Robinson is in the backfield to the left hip of Rudy Garcia. He will take the snap. He's looking over to Hood. Hood has it in the air. It's tipped, and it will fall to the floor incomplete. First down ends up as an incomplete pass. Now you've got 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line. This is a crucial opportunity for the East LA Huskies.
The Huskies offense has been playing so much better on this drive. Need to make the most of this possession, walk away with a touchdown. I mean, you'll take the points for a field goal, but you gotta get that touchdown.
Pierre Robinson listening to Albert Robles and walking it into the end zone for a touchdown. Touchdown, East LA. The Huskies get themselves back on the board. It's now 38-9. They're going to look for the opportunity for an extra point. As once again, it's that option play with Rudy Garcia. Garcia takes a look at the linebacker right up the middle, the Mike backer, and then decides, you know what, he's already committed to me, so I'll hand it off to Pierre Robinson. Robinson goes over left tackle, and he walks right into the end zone. Juan Rango puts this one up and good, and it's 38-10. So now it's a 28-point deficit, and if you're East LA College, you are back on the board. You've got your first touchdown of the afternoon. Now, the question kind of creeps up in your mind. Do you get cheeky with this kickoff, considering the risk that is at stake? If you recover, obviously you're in great field position and you can move up on offense, and you still got it in the third quarter. However, if College of the Canyons is the one to pick up the football, you're giving them excellent field position from inside your own 50 with that dynamic offense.
And that's really the question that needs to be answered here. I mean, honestly, if I'm the Huskies, I'm going to punt it away. Punt it away. You want to drive that ball as far down as you possibly can. You definitely don't want to do a little pooch kick for an onside kick, because of the way the Canyons team has been playing, they have been capitalizing on every single down that they have been given. Only one possession have they actually not been able to score. The further away you can keep them out of field goal range and outside the red zone is your best chance to stay in this game.
So you're looking at this Husky defense and saying, you've got to get us back in it.
Definitely. You can't give the Canyons offense the best field position to score, because they've been capitalizing on every single chance.
Here's the onside kick. That ball goes directly into the arms of the College of the Canyons Cougars, and it is recovered, just like we mentioned, inside of the East LA 50. So the onside kick is there. Albert Robles deciding that field positioning was key, and instead it ends up being recovered by the Canyons Cougars. So if you're the defense of East LA College, you've got to show up big here. Emmanuel Cater, this is the time for him to rise to the occasion. He'll be on the near side of the field of the defensive line. He's standing up as he's going to rush the quarterback in Michael Wilson. Wilson will hand it off to Moises Haynes, and that's a promising start on first down as they stack him after only gaining a single yard.
So far, so good by the Huskies defense on that particular play. If they can keep that for these next two downs, I'll be happy with that onside kick choice.
12 in that quarterback for the Cougars.
Here's Michael Wilson. He decides to keep it himself. He gets tackled from his left. That will be Savea who is in on the tackle, and that was almost a touchdown-saving tackle there by Savea, as that hole was wide open on the right-hand side of the field. Now it's a 3rd down and 3 to go. East LA needs to stack them here. They are back in this ball game with a score. They're still down by 28, but they need to stop Michael Wilson and the 5-receiver offense of College of the Canyons. He's calling out the play here inside the backfield. The left-handed QB takes a look at his sideline. 4 are going to rush. Here's a blitz. It's going to go to the far side of the field where it is caught and kept in bounds by College of the Canyons. It will be brought back initially as the reception was made. It looked like Madison Wheeler on the far side of the field. Wheeler is normally lined up as a safety. And excuse me, it's not Wheeler. That actually goes out to Romello Cook. But Cook, nonetheless, with a 1st down reception, adding a couple more yards as well, and it's 1st down for College of the Canyons. 38-10 is our score. This is a pitch over towards the right to Moises Haynes. Haynes gets into the 2nd level, and he will push away another defender, and he just has a low center of gravity that allows him to plow into people. Under a minute to play, actually under 10 seconds. That presumably will bring us to the 4th quarter of play between Canyons and East LA. Our score is 38-10. East LA down by 28 as we head into the final frame. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on Sportsnet USA.net. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard in just a couple of minutes between Golden West and the Riverside City College Tigers, which at the current moment is Riverside 35 and Golden West 6, with 9:45 remaining in the 3rd quarter out in the Inland Empire. So Rashawn Haylock on the call there. He has a chance to hopefully see his Golden West Rustlers get back into it, as they are currently 3-3. They don't want to end up falling to 3-4. Earlier on SportsNetUSA.net, Fullerton College got their 3rd win of the season by a final of 56-42 over top of the Palomar Comets. So they go up to 3-4, and they're trying to get back into the rankings for the first time in a couple of weeks. And in fact, when you look at Fullerton College, Albert, Fullerton College was unranked this week for the first time since Week 7, 2015.
That's quite the impressive stretch for Fullerton College.
A decent stretch, and when you actually look at it as well, it was the first time since 2000 and I believe it was 13 where this team wasn't ranked in the top 10 at one point in the season. So as you said, a decent stretch for Fullerton. They're trying to get themselves back into the conversation. Back onto the field here at East LA. This will be a handoff going over towards the right-hand side. Will it be a 1st down? It looks like it's enough yardage to get there, as Cartillis McFadden out of Latta, South Carolina, 6'1", 205, is able to move the chains and make it a 1st down. Over towards the right. It goes back to McFadden. McFadden gains no yardage, so he will be brought back to the line of scrimmage. Early here in the 4th quarter, East LA trying to get back into it. They are down by 28 to the College of the Canyons Cougars. They're trying to hold College of the Canyons out of the end zone. They need as many points as possible within 15 minutes of play. This will be Michael Wilson rolling over to his left. He's got a receiver wide open, corner of the end zone, touchdown Canyons. That ends up going to Vantravius Williams, 5'11" freshman out of Fort Lauderdale. And it was a pretty easy route to spy, as for Williams, he ends up running about 6 yards upfield, hesitates, and then runs a post route that was too easy for Michael Wilson to spy. And for East LA, that's a backbreaker considering that you had a lot of momentum, you had the touchdown, and you had the opportunity to hold College of the Canyons on 3rd down twice in this drive. They just weren't able to finish it off. So 44-10 is our score. 34 points is where the lead is extended to. Tanner Brown will see this go high, and it will end up not being good for College of the Canyons. Madison Wheeler was the holder. The snap was well high, and by the time that he got the football under control, it was too late, and he was tackled for a loss. So the lead will stay at 34 points. 44-10 is our current score. 13:52 left here in the 4th quarter. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Reminder that all games here on SportsNetUSA.net are brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. You know the holidays are coming up and you want your family members to get around to family functions and school and work all safely and all in style. Well, go ahead and check out Miller Toyota of Anaheim. You can check out their wide variety of used vehicles and brand new vehicles as well. You can check them out online at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com. Again, that is MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com. Or you can check them out in person at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports high school sports, community college sports, but most of all, they support education. Once again, that is Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Tanner Brown will kick this one away. Justin Watkins, who has been kicked to all afternoon, will field it at the 7-yard line. And we can hear the reaction from the coaching staff over to our left. If you're East LA, you've got to let that one go out of bounds. We've got a flag on the near side of the field, well away from the football, and a flag over towards the far side of the field. We will see what exactly the calls are there. If Watkins lets that go out, that ends up being a penalty for Tanner Brown, and the ball gets placed at the 40-yard line. So it ends up being a legal procedure on College of the Canyons. And that will bring the ball up to the 40-yard line, if I'm not mistaken. Coach Iacenda not happy, trying to get a word in with the officials. They're having a conference here. It seems like the kicking team is going back out there. So that would have actually been a false start on the kicking team. Which would end up being a re-kick from 5 yards back. That's not something you see every day here or at any level.
It definitely is not something you see every day. But if I'm the Huskies, I'll take it. I will gladly take a re-kick over being at the 7-yard line. That's quite possibly the worst position they would have had the entire game. And if they could come out with a better field position after this re-kick, I'll take it.
So the ball should be placed, if it is a false start going against College of the Canyons, the ball should be placed at the 35-yard line. Or I'm sorry, at the 30-yard line. Tanner Brown initially placed the holder at the 35. As the officials are now talking with Coach Bobby Godinez on the near side of the field, and he gets an explanation as to what it is that is going on.
Judging from the sounds coming from the coach's box next door, I think the Huskies just might have gotten away with a really good field possession on a penalty on the Canyons kicking team.
I think they called illegal it seems like they called either a false start or an illegal procedure. For the most part, I believe it was an illegal procedure for that ball going out of bounds. So they will place it at the 35-yard line. there were 2 penalties on the play as this goes to Jerome Robinson. Robinson over towards the left-hand side, trying to get away from traffic, gets hammered from behind, and he will be taken down for a total gain of 1.
If I had to guess, what most likely happened was, considering where Watkins was on the far side, that he might have been out of bounds the entire time and never was ever really able to complete the possession of the ball.
So that's the other question. Was his foot out of bounds when he makes contact? That's part of the rule. If any part of your body is touching the out of bounds marker and you touch the football, that is an illegal procedure penalty. So nice spot by you, Albert, as this goes over towards the left to Justin Watkins. Watkins runs into a blocker, and he will make his way upfield, making it a 3rd down and 5. That might have been the ruling that they had on the far side of the field, in which the illegal procedure was there because Justin Watkins had one of his toes on the sideline.
It definitely looked like he was trying to tiptoe and make the most of it, but luckily the line judge was right on top of him that play the entire time. It was a matter of how they were going to rule the positioning.
So the ball got placed at the 35. Now we're at the 40, 3rd down and 5 to go. Daniel Munguia goes into motion left-hand side. Rudy Garcia looking for a teammate. And that was well out of bounds. Now it's a 4th down and 5 to go. And we may see Juan Rangel jumping onto the field, and we will indeed. So a 4th down and 5, and the punt is coming up for East LA. They already have a successful fake in this one. Juan Rangel is back. Daniel Munguia goes to the far side of the field. Everyone rearranging. It's a 4th down and 5. Coach Iacenda on the far side of the field thinking about calling the timeout. Doesn't do so. Juan Rangel does get it successfully and booms this one away. It's going to go all the way down to the left side to Trevon Elliott, and Elliott will run it out of bounds. I believe he goes out at the 19-yard line. So that will be a 39-yard punt for Juan Rangel, and the College of the Canyons Cougars offense gets to go back onto the field. Right-hand side of the offense, College of the Canyons is going to send out Romello Cook. Cook is taken over here in the second half as that primary receiver. This ball will be sent over to McFadden, and McFadden gets taken down after a total gain of 2. (44-10) is our score. Clock ticking down from under 12 minutes to play in this one. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles, live here on Sportsnet USA.net. Right-hand side, Zarak Scruggs Jr. watching on as this will be handed off to McFadden once again. McFadden gets an identical carry of 2 yards. That will bring in a 3rd down and 5 to go.
By number 26, a 3rd and 6 for the Cougars.
Jogging off the field now for College of the Canyons is Moises Haynes. They're going to go empty backfield. Receiver over to the right is Amari Smith, also joined out there by Scruggs. Far side of the field, just entering the ball game, will end up being Andrew Quezada. Wilson decides to keep it himself. He's got the first down. He's got blockers. He's going to go to the sideline, gets around 2 different would-be tacklers, and finally is wrestled down at the 45-yard line. That is a huge pickup for the College of the Canyons Cougars. That's going to go down as a 22-yard gain. 10:45 to go as the clock keeps ticking away. 44-10, College of the Canyons is up over top of East LA. Live here in the 4th quarter. at East LA. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football. You're on Sportsnet, USA.net. We've got a lot of games coming up this upcoming weekend. We'll get to that in just a little bit as Wilson will hand it off. That's going to go to the far sideline as the end around will finally be chased out of bounds. That was Lennox Howard who got the handoff. And it ends up as a total gain of 3 yards. And if you're an offensive coordinator, those are the types of gains you're not necessarily happy with. When you go with an end around, you're expecting to get to the edge. You're expecting to at least pick up 6 to 7 at minimum. You don't want your wide receiver running 30 to 40 yards just to pick up 3. He ends up picking up 3 in this case, and that brings him to the 49-yard line. Ball will be taken by Michael Wilson on the left-hand side. He's a dynamic runner who can get to the second level, and he does so here. 39 yards, or to the 39-yard line. It's a first down and 10 to go as College of the Canyons keeps cranking forward with this offense.
Right now, it's almost as if the Canyons offense is trying to slow their roll a little bit, maybe manage to clock a little bit more, and not seeing a whole lot of passes, mostly runs from Wilson and his other running backs.
Yeah, Moises Haynes, who is out there, in addition to Cartilis McFadden. And it is Moises Haynes who ends up getting the carry on that one. He gets 2. So it's second down and 8 to go. As the clock keeps winding down, and if you're College of the Canyons, you're allowing the play clock to just kind of wane its way down as much as possible. You shouldn't be taking any snaps with more than 7 seconds left on the clock each time. Play clock currently at 7. That's going to tick down to 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. They just do get it off. Toss over to the far side. This is going to be a first down and more. Right-hand side, Lennox Howard. Howard trying to get around a block. Howard trying to get into the end zone, and he will make it. Lennox Howard from 39 yards out ends up getting another touchdown for College of the Canyons to make it 50-10 over top of East LA. 8:07 left to go in the fourth quarter. It's 50-10. College of the Canyons on top of the East LA Huskies. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football. You're on SportsNetUSA.net. Tanner Brown is on to tack on the extra point. Last time he was out there, snap was too high, and the 2-point conversion ended up failing. Block that kick is the chant from the crowd as Brown just does get it away. Looked like it might have been deflected at the line of scrimmage. Nonetheless, he does get it up and get it good. So Tanner Brown is still perfect on PATs this season, as he is now sitting at 36 for 36. 8:07 left in this one. It's 51-10. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Speaking of SportsNetUSA.net, it's a giant family function affair, you could say, next Saturday, as we're going to have 3 different teams playing at the exact same time. East LA will be right back here on SportsNetUSA.net. That will be a 6 p.m. startup for your East LA Huskies as they get set to try and keep improving their record. They're currently 2-4. After this one, they'll drop to 2-5, but they have a chance to take on Bakersfield here at home and again improve their record to 3-5. And when you look at the other 2 teams who will be live here on SportsNetUSA.net, San Diego Mesa will be hosting the Fullerton College Hornets. That will be at 6. Mark Pavlovich and Corey Nalen will be taking a trip down to the San Diego area. And Golden West will be live at 6 p.m. Once again, Rashawn Haylock on the call there, as this will be fielded by Justin Watkins. Watkins on the far side of the field gets taken down at the 11. And that will be where East LA will begin.
By this quarter
their upcoming drive. So first down and 10 to go from the 11-yard line. But Golden West next week, next Saturday, they will begin their matchup at 6 p.m. as well, as that will be the Saddleback game coming up for the Golden West Huskies at Mission Viejo. Rashawn Haylock on the call there. So 3 different games. You got Bakersfield versus East LA here at 6, San Diego Mesa and Fullerton College, and then Saddleback and Golden West College all starting at 6 p.m. next weekend. Back here at East LA, the Huskies jog back onto the field with Rudy Garcia, far side of the field. Wide receiver is Daniel Dexter. Munguia is in the slot on the left, joined by Jaden James. Handoff is over to the right to Velasco, and Velasco gets taken down after a gain of 4. So he ends up getting through the initial wall, but not able to break free. Sitting under 8 minutes to go in this one. Rudy Garcia and the entire offense has to hurry if they want to get some more points on the board. Taking a look at the sideline is Garcia. He's also joined out there by Jonathan Blackman, in addition to James and Munguia. This will be right up the middle and right through the hands of the intended target in Dante Coxum. So Coxum will see that go to the floor. And with 7:17 left to go here in this one, it remains a 51-10 ball game. Now, Albert, we look at Rudy Garcia entering the second half. He looked like he was having a decent afternoon. Then he goes on that long drive for East LA, which eventually finished off in their only touchdown this afternoon so far. And as we were told here in the press box, he looked decisive. He was sensational on that drive as Rudy Garcia drops back. Zips one down the middle. That is dropped by Dante. Actually, that's going to be Coxum once again. So Coxum not able to hold on to it, and it will be a 4th down and 5 to go. But you look at Rudy Garcia, he has had a pretty good afternoon. Hasn't been picked off, hasn't turned the ball over so far tonight. But the entire offense just, whenever they end up getting momentum, it seems like they got into their own way.
Yeah, and it's very unfortunate, too, because, like I said, Garcia was basically a man on a mission. That last, drive they had, they actually scored a touchdown on. Kept the ball to himself, made a few good passes, but it was mostly runs on his own. And 2 solid opportunities to actually convert and actually get another first down deep downfield, but unfortunately ended up being drops. It's very disheartening to see, Garcia have to work overload like that. Sadly, I think the Huskies are probably going to take a loss here. I don't foresee them coming down this, 41-point deficit, but I am definitely liking what I'm seeing from Garcia on the day, and that he can be decisive, despite the fact that the entire offense hasn't as been productive as it could be.
The return ended up going for 2 yards. Nice coverage there by the Huskies, as they end up giving the ball back to Michael Garcia. East LA wants a timeout, and they end up getting one called as Jamal Evans, the sophomore safety, 6'3" out of Centennial, Las Vegas, was desperately trying to call a timeout on the field as he saw a wide open receiver on the far side that the coverage just wasn't there for. So the timeout is taken by East LA. That's their 2nd of the half. And our score with 7:01 left, 51-10. College of the Canyons with the lead over top the East LA Huskies. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Reminder, next weekend we will be back here live at 6 p.m. as East LA will take on Bakersfield College. Myself, Albert Robles. We've been here for the majority of the season for East LA, as this will be a pitch over towards the left-hand side, and finally getting out of bounds will end up being Cartillis McFadden after he gains the first down. But when you look at these East LA Huskies, you can see the improvement week after week. They started off in the first game that we saw them, they didn't look nearly as dynamic. Then all of a sudden, game number 2 against Compton, improvements. They end up winning that one by over 6 scores. They go up against Mount Sac, probably should have had that ball game, but nonetheless, as this one goes back to McFadden and he gains 8 on this one, nonetheless, if you're East LA, you're going up against a top 10 ranked opponent and you almost beat them at home. That's significant. They improve there. Now you look at this one against College of the Canyons. Yes, it's a 41-point deficit, as you mentioned, but there is some stuff that you can take away from this. As you mentioned, Rudy Garcia looked like he can be a decisive character the rest of the way for East LA. But if you're looking at this defense so far, whenever they have had the ability to tackle, they have tackled well. They haven't seen very many College of the Canyons players, as this will be handed off over to McFadden. McFadden dipping and diving his way up to the 20-yard line. He will be tackled there for a first down. You haven't seen very many broken tackles this afternoon, so the defense for East LA has been wrapping up well.
I definitely have to agree with you on that part. I mean, like, the defense has stepped up when they have been able to. Like, when the opportunity presents itself, they definitely haven't, lost any control of that aspect of the game. I think it's just that the Canyon offense have been so good of just getting open for, the Canyons quarterback to actually reach them for those, deep passes. And there haven't really been that many deep passes from Canyon. They've just been nitpicking at the Huskies' defense altogether.
Here's Michael Wilson taking the snap in the gun. He'll hand it off to McFadden. McFadden goes off the left guard, and he will gain 3 and bring it down to the 17-yard line. Now, when you look at East LA, they have quite literally the toughest schedule in the entire nation this year. Week 1 was against Cerritos, who at the time was ranked number 5 in the entire country, not to mention in the state as well. Then, the next time that we see them, they do play Compton, who was unranked, but they also played Mount Sac, who was ranked in the top 6. Then they ended up playing this team in College of the Canyons, who has been terrific and who is ranked in the top 8 in the state of California. So when you're looking at the schedule overall, as they also played Southwestern, who is in the top 12, Long Beach, who is ranked, and Orange Coast, who wasn't ranked at the time, but they are only, we'll say they are only 3 scores away from actually being a 5-2 team.
That's definitely real. For everything you said on Garcia so far, he's been dependable, reliable, strong, durable. He hasn't taken many hits. The offensive line has held through. They haven't gotten to their quarterback at all this game. He hasn't gone down once. No fumbles, no interceptions. Has run the ball himself numerous times. There's definitely a lot of versatility in Garcia to utilize. I think the Canyon defense has just been able to hold the wide receivers and running backs to not really get open and really take advantage of how much you can do in the open field.
This will end up being a touchdown for Cartillis McFadden, and he's going to make it a 57-10 game. But when you mention that, Albert, it is interesting to go back and think about this afternoon, because you think of Rudy Garcia in the pocket, and you're hard-pressed to actually think of a time when he was taken to the ground for a quarterback sack.
I think he may have only been sacked once this entire game from what I'm looking at in my notes here. Actually, I see 1 sack, and I think that was in the first half of the game. And actually, I think the sack was to end the half, actually.
So they've been able to end up protecting Rudy Garcia very well. That offensive line, a huge improvement. And when you're going against College of the Canyons, this is the team, as the extra point was tacked on, 57, or make it 58-10 is the current score. But when you're looking at the offensive line going against College of the Canyons is top 15 in the state of California, which has over 120 different schools playing football. If you're able to hold this Canyons defensive line, this entire defense for Canyons as well, to 1 sack, that is huge. That's not something that every team gets to say. In fact, when you look at Ventura last year in the playoff game, they held them to 3 sacks, and everybody said, okay, that's a victory. when you look at Golden West earlier, when they played College of the Canyons, they held College of the Canyons to 4, and everybody said, okay, that's decent. You'll take that. But then you look at tonight, and East LA only giving up 1 sack is something huge for this offensive line.
It's practically astonishing because, like, the way the defense has been playing for Canyon, like, you think they'd have more takeaways on their part, but that hasn't been the case. It's just simply been an issue of the Huskies' offense, not being able to convert on downs, and just a lot of punts away, to Canyon. Like, that's really been the key to this game. I mean, like, the offensive line has been good on holding back the Canyon defense. It's just those little other struggles where they need to kind of clean up their play and, improve overall. It's really about those conversions and, like, to your point earlier of, the field position. All those kind of go hand in hand all together.
And you mentioned the field position. I believe that they've only taken the ball or started a drive from beyond their own 30-yard line twice in this ball game. Once after the illegal procedure penalty and then once after a return. But everything else has been inside of their own 20. And if you're going to take on a team like College of the Canyons, you can't give them that opportunity to pin you to inside of your own 20-yard line as Rudy Garcia sends this one out into the flat, far side of the field. And a big-time tackle is made by the College of the Canyons Cougars on the far side, as that was Cedric Hood who ended up making that reception, as we're getting to under 3 minutes and 15 seconds to play. But you can't give those free opportunities to a top 10 ranked opponent.
Yeah, you definitely can't do that because an opponent like that is going to make the most of it. I mean, for the field positioning that the Huskies have had all game for all of their, returns, it's not like they haven't tried to make the most of it. Like, usually on those drives, they at least have gotten down to the 50-yard line or closer around there. It's not like they haven't done nothing with those possessions. It's just, they're just not turning down on those third downs, like when they actually need to do it the most. They've made very, quick and dynamic plays for, for reasonable gains. They'll get to that 50, and the next thing you know, the Canyon defense, steps in, and then next thing you know, Husky is punting it yet again.
Darian Turner just moments ago, 8-yard gain to bring up a 1st down and 10 from the 25-yard line. Rudy Garcia directing traffic once more. He's got Cedric Hood on the far side. Daniel Munguia on the sideline. Darian Turner gets into the next level, and he is able to get himself down to the 40-yard line. Kind of an awkward fall, as that will end up being a flag after the play. You're going to assume unsportsmanlike conduct coming up here in just a moment, as there was additional contact following the play. Ball was initially placed at the 39-yard line, as the white hat Ed Zapolsky gets into some open field, and he will make the call. Personal foul going against the defense of College of the Canyons, and it is a 1st down, so a 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run.
And that was a terrific run by Turner on that play. By far one of the better runs of the Huskies player not named Garcia.
So Garcia goes back in. He's got James on his left. He's got Cedric Hood on the far side of the field. He'll take the snap in the gun. He decides to hand it off to Turner. Turner runs into a wall, gets away from one, and is able to turn this into a 1-yard gain. He looked like he was initially going to be stacked at the 50-yard line. However, he does get around 2 different defenders and works his way upfield for a positive gain. We're sitting at 1.5 minutes left to go in this one. 58-10 is our score between Canyons and East LA. So Canyons is going to raise their record to 6-1. For East LA, they will drop to 2-5. Handoff to the right-hand side. Picked up by Adrian Ochoa, and the freshman out of St. John Bosco will end up gaining 2. And his high school had a big night last night. Their team ended up taking on number 1 Mater Dei, so the top 2 teams in the nation, Mater Dei and St. John Bosco, playing each other. And Mater Dei took home the victory by 2 scores over top of the Bosco Braves. But
that's
Ochoa,
not easy to do.
not at all, especially with that top recruit at quarterback, and DJ. As this goes over towards the left-hand side, East LA sees a guy try to hurdle in Amaje Porter. Amaje Porter tries to go over top of his defender in Abdul Latif Adu, and Adu just slams him right to the floor.
Came very close to almost being a personal foul, but luckily he was already in there, was going to come down anyway. And luckily that defensive player for Canyon didn't actually suplex him, because that could have been another couple of yards in the Huskies' favor.
And that is the end of the ball game.
That's going to end up doing it for tonight. When you look at this one, and you mentioned just moments ago, the reason why it's not a personal foul is because he was trying to go into the hurdle. If that was just a normal play in which he's going forward, he's picked up and tossed back onto his back, that's where the difference is. That's where the personal foul goes. But in that case, he ends up trying to hurdle. He gets slammed to the floor, and that ends up being the end of this afternoon's ball game. A final of 58-10. And when you look at it, East LA, well, I think you really have to go back to the beginning of this ball game, in which the first 3 drives for College of the Canyons all were successful. 2 touchdowns, 1 field goal as well. They were up 17-0 before 6 minutes had passed in the first quarter. And if you're East LA, you just can't give up those types of easy points to College of the Canyons. Now East LA rebounded after that. They ended up getting a couple of stops later on in the first and early in the second, but they just weren't able to stop College of the Canyons and their offense the rest of the afternoon. So Albert, when you look